I've actually never watched the highlights. It always seems to crop up, and Nasser Hussain always brings it up. So
about 2015 World Cup, you are the captain of the team. How many times you have watched that match highlights after that match?
I've actually never watched the highlights. It always seems to crop up, and Nasser Hussain always brings it up. So I don't need to remind myself. They're a good team. They're very difficult to play against. I'd probably say back in 2015 they had a lot more experience, particularly in the seam bowling department. I think talent within this group probably makes up for the lack of experience, but they were a good side. They were way better than us on the day in Adelaide. So they're a tricky side to play against, regardless of where you play them. I do think conditions here will suit England more than Bangladesh. Having watched all the game the other day, just the extra bit of bounce, not necessarily fast bounce, but just extra bit of bounce might suit England's seamers and take Bangladesh's strength out of the game a little bit. I know their spinners dominated Afghanistan, but that was just sort of how they built pressure. They did it really, really well. The ball didn't turn a great deal, but you would imagine if that was still the case, it will allow England to play to their strengths more than probably Bangladesh's. Yeah, you look historically of when they've won games, they do look at their bigger name players. I think one of the positives against Afghanistan is that their youngsters stood up. Shanto, Mirage really did take a lot of pressure away from any that was being applied, and it's normally left to the more experienced guys. When you do have a tricky chase, a shorter chase, we saw it in the Indian game yesterday, two very experienced campaigners taking on responsibility and soaking up the pressure and getting your team over the line, which is exactly what they did. So that will help the like of Shakib's performance and his leadership in tomorrow's game if they continue to stand up. Here you'd say majority of the games that people play against higher pace bowling, they do pose different questions. It obviously wasn't the case in England's first game, but Mark Wood is a very difficult bowler to face. He bowls very, very quickly. You'd say he probably wasn't right on top of his game in the first game, so he will come in with a point to prove and probably look to utilise the extra bit of bounce on this wicket. He's an unbelievable campaigner when it comes to performance. He's always regarded as one of the best all-rounders in the world, and he proves that up with performance and continuously producing consistent performances. This is his 5th World Cup. There aren't many current players that have played in 5 World Cups, so the longevity in which he shows alongside performance makes him one of the great all-rounders. Yeah, here that's obviously a major challenge. The talent is certainly there, and how you utilise and harness that talent is probably going to result in if you can compete and be at the business end of a tournament. So it will come back to how they prioritise and identify what their team might look like and try and build towards a future or target a tournament that might suit them or work in their favour.